On today's IRS tax refund update, as we have finally reached the tax filing deadline, we will take a look at the latest developments, including the next round of tax refunds scheduled for release, as well as new numbers on the growing tax return backlog, still impacting many. And from there, we will recap the top causes of refund delays this year, as reported by our viewers, as well as adjusted tax refunds and the causes, and some of those tax transcript codes being reported. Starting off with the latest, as the next round of direct deposit tax refunds is scheduled for release on April 17th and 18th, as confirmed by the tax transcripts seen here. Now, if you're part of this latest refund batch, do allow up until April 24th for that deposit to post to your account before initiating a payment trace with the IRS. Meanwhile, the IRS has released its latest set of processing numbers and are now indicating they have processed 100.1 million out of the 101.8 million tax returns received so far this year. However, in a concerning development, the number of unprocessed tax returns has seen a massive increase in the last week to now over 1.7 million remaining, which includes many of our viewers. Now the IRS has not broken down these numbers, which they won't usually start doing until after the tax filing period ends, to indicate how many of the over 1.7 million unprocessed tax returns are e-file returns compared to paper tax returns filed, and whether or not this number also includes amended returns that have been filed since the start of the tax season. At this point, given the amount of unprocessed tax returns, it will be clear there will be those, including some of our viewers, who will be waiting until summer to get that refund. Also, as a reminder, the IRS still be paying interest on delayed refunds starting 45 days after the end of the tax filing deadline on April 15th, however, in most cases with an 8% interest rate on an average refund amount that does not usually come out too much. Even though the tax filing deadline has arrived, tax processing will continue. There are issues will continue for many. So we are going to recap the top issues still impacting tax filers this year. And we continue to advise those with prolonged delays, now that the filing period has ended, to open up a case with the taxpayer advocate in regards to your issue, especially if you have been waiting over 60 days at this point. Now, one of the main issues causing refund delays, but something that in most cases can be resolved by the IRS, is an entry error on the tax return in question. And in 2022, over 17 million tax returns contained entry errors that had to be corrected by the IRS in order for that refund to be released. Entry errors include something minor as a single digit that was incorrectly entered on the return, which prevented the IRS from matching the information on the tax return during processing. Meanwhile, another issue, and something we have seen an increase of, has been additional reviews of tax returns. Now, oftentimes, this may be a case where the tax return has been randomly selected for review, which impacts millions of tax returns every year, while other reviews are initiated because the IRS computer system identified a potential issue with the tax return, such as wages that are not matching. And oftentimes, those impacted by this will receive a letter from the IRS in the CP12 series of notices, and some additional reviews may even lead to audits, especially for those claiming credits such as the Earned Income Tax Credit and additional child tax credit, even if the tax filer has been claiming the same dependent for many years, and even if they underwent an audit in a previous year. Also, credits that are associated with high levels of fraud, such as the fuel tax credit, are almost automatically guaranteed to be reviewed by the IRS before a refund is released. Another issue impacting refunds, and something that is out of the control of tax filers, is when their employer's tax information has not been processed, which means the IRS is unable to match the wages you are reporting on your tax return and comparing it to what your employer has entered for accuracy. Now, this is a consistent problem that impacts many of our viewers each year, and who can receive one, if not multiple, 60-day notices from the IRS as a result, instructing them to continue to wait. From there, another top reason, especially those impacting viewers who filed earlier in the tax season, is the need to complete ID verification. And it seems the request to complete ID verification has only increased in recent years, especially with the massive amount of data breaches that have taken place. And finally, for those filing paper tax returns, they can expect to experience some of the longest waits, as the tax return in question must be manually entered into the computer system by an IRS employee digit by digit. Now, as more refunds are released on a weekly basis, also comes additional reports of adjusted refunds. And as we stated earlier, one of the top reasons for delays is entry errors on the tax return. And once the IRS corrects an issue, it oftentimes results in an adjusted refund amount. However, the adjusted refund could also be a result of a tax credit claim that was denied, such as not submitting requested paperwork to the IRS in a timely manner, or the determination that the filer did not qualify for the credit based on certain circumstances. If impacted by this, expect to receive the CP12 notice as seen here in the mail, indicating the adjusted refund amount, as well as the reason behind the adjustment, and an opportunity to appeal the refund amount. If you agree with the changes, expect to receive a refund within 4 to 6 weeks after receiving that notice in the mail. And finally, responding to some of those viewer questions about codes on their tax transcripts, starting off the 150 code as seen here. Now this code simply represents your tax return has been filed and is in the IRS computer system for processing. Now every single transcript will show this code whether it is an e-file or paper tax return, while the 806 code represents tax withholdings, usually from your paycheck that you are reporting. And again, this is another normal code. From there, if you are seeing a 570 code, that represents there is a hold on your return requiring further review, and the 971 represents a notice being sent out about the potential issue requiring a further review, with the 846 code indicating your refund is being released. Let us know in the comment section below about your ongoing tax issue. In the meantime, we will keep monitoring the situation for further developments, so make sure to click on the thumbs up and subscribe button below for future updates on this channel, and thanks for watching.